there, very good evening and warm welcome to the news live on Rupavahini Channel I. I'm Sharma Screenings.
And I'm Thilina Udayaratna. For starters, we take a look at tonight's top stories. The examination of petitions relating to the draft bill of the Colombo Port City's Economic Commission begins. The Mahasangha reiterates that the port city is a golden opportunity to developing the country. All universities will be reopened on the 27th of this month. A meeting between the Prime Minister and party leaders of the Sri Lanka Podujana Alliance. The Indian Health Service is in severe crisis due to the spread of the coronavirus. And on your top local story this evening, the Mahasangha states that a golden opportunity has been provided through the Colombo Port City project to recreate a new country out from the rubbles of a broken economy. They further point out that constructive criticism is needed to direct the country on the proper path. However, baseless accusations, even pertaining to the children of the president, would only bring the country towards destruction. Mahanayaka of the Asgiriya chapter, Venerable Veneruwe Upali Thera, said that the children of the president have also come under discussion. It is not an offence to engage in employment without being involved in politics. The Venerable Thera further said that Sri Lanka must act in a sense of friendship with other countries. It would become difficult to develop the country without such cooperation. The country is unable to go forward only through local industries and businesses. The Venerable Thera added that when dealing with foreign countries, it is imperative to safeguard Sri Lanka's identity and territorial integrity.
In other stories, a 5-member panel of Supreme Court judges have taken up for hearing the petitions filed challenging the draft bill of the Colombo Port City Economic Commission. Prior to the commencement of the proceedings, Chief Justice Jayantha Jayasuriya, presenting facts before the first open court, said that a large number of counsels are appearing to challenge the draft bill. Therefore, he has requested each of the attorneys at law to restrict the duration of their overall submissions to a period of between 20 to 30 minutes. Thereafter, the President's Counsel, K. Kanagishwaran, has submitted facts on behalf of the group of petitioners. Around 20 petitioners challenging the draft bill have been filed by groups including President of the United National Party, Vajra Abeyewardena, General Secretary of the party, Palitha Range Bandara, General Secretary of the Samaki Jana Balawegaya, Parliamentarian Ranjith Madhuma Bandara, and former Parliamentarian of the Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna, Vasantha Samarasinghe. Meanwhile, intermediate petitions have been presented by a group including Minister Professor J.R. Peiris, General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Parliamentarian Sagara Karyavasam, and the Lawyers Association affiliated to the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Secretary to the Ministry of Finance S.R. Artikala, Secretary to the Cabinet W.N.D.J. Fernando, and President Secretary P.V. Jayasundara. The petitioners have pointed out that certain clauses in the relevant draft bill violate the Constitution. Therefore, they request to deliver a verdict stating that 2/3 majority in Parliament and public referendum are required in order to pass the relevant clauses in the draft bill. The 5-member Supreme Court bench is comprised of Chief Justice Jayantha Jayasuriya and Justices of the Supreme Court Bhuvaneka Aluvihare, Priyantha Jayawardena, Murthu Fernando and Janak De Silva. Further hearings on the petitions have been postponed till tomorrow.
State Minister Susil Premajayantha says that the authority on the auditing of funds has been vested upon the Auditor General through the draft bill of the Colombo Port Cities Commission. The minister made these observations participating in a dialogue jointly organized by the Ministry of Mass Media and the National Development Media Centre today. State Minister Susil Premajayantha said that the Act will not by any means create another country. It has been clearly stated through the 5th clause of the Constitution that the administrative area of the Republic of Sri Lanka is comprised of 25 administrative districts and a local water column belonging to the Republic. This fact has been substantiated by the draft bill as well. The port city is also a part of the Colombo district. False propaganda is being carried out regarding alleged preparations of a new elam. The state minister has recalled how the former UNP had signed an agreement with Prabhakaran in 2002 and attempted an unofficial handing over of an elam. It was due to the untiring efforts of the then President Mahinda Rajapaksa and the then Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the commitments of the gallant war heroes that it had become possible to defeat the attempts in the year 2005. He further said that a government which had halted such a devious attempt will never allow to recreate such a situation. The 154th clause of the Constitution stipulates on the manner the finances are received. The auditing functions are being carried out under the discretion of the Auditor General. The auditing process will be carried out by a local or foreign institute. It is up to the Supreme Court to decide whether a two-thirds majority and parliamentary amendments are needed for the passage of the draft bill.
එහෙම නවත්තපු නායකයෝ දෙන්නෙක් අයිත් මේක ඊලම් එකක් හැදෙන්න ඉඩ තියන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක ජනතාවට විශ්වාසයි ඊටම හොඳින්
විපක්ෂයෙන් කියන දෙයක් තමයි මේ ආණ්ඩුවට තියෙන 3/2 බලය උපයෝගී කරගෙන මේ පනත ගෙනාව කියලා. එහෙම එකක් තියෙනවද මෙතන?
3/2 බලයකින් මේක සම්මත කළ යුතුද කියන එක තීන්දුව කරන්නේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණය දෙන තීන්දුවත් එක්ක. දැන් අපි හිතමු 19 සංශෝධනය කෙලින්ම අනුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ සංශෝධනය. මේක අනුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ සංශෝධනයක් නෙවෙයි. මේක සාමාන්‍ය පනත් කෙටුම්පතක්. සාමාන්‍ය පනත් කෙටුම්පතකට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය බහුතරයක්. නමුත් 3/2ක් අවශ්‍යයි කියලා යම් යම් වගන්තීන් පුටා දක්වලා ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ මඟ පෙන්වීමක් කළොත් අන්න එතෙන්දි විතරයි 3/2ක් අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේක සාමාන්‍ය බහුතරයෙන් සම්මත කරන්න පුළුවන් පනතක්.
නිසි ක්‍රමවේදය අපි අනුගමනය
President of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Minister Professor G.L. Pires said that 23 petitions have been submitted to the Supreme Court in connection with the Port City Act. A 5-member panel of Supreme Court judges have commenced the examination of the petitions this morning. A proper methodology is being followed in receiving cabinet approval for the act. Thereafter, it will be presented to the Parliament. He also said that the Attorney General has given a written assurance that stating that the draft bill does not violate the Sri Lankan Constitution. The stance of his party is also the same.
MPs and ministers headed by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa resumed their duties after the dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. They have met their staff at the President's office today. The President stated on this occasion that all should act with positive attitudes, determination and commitment to realize the people's expectations by overcoming challenges. The President, the MPs, the ministers and the staff have also attended a tea party organised by the Secretary to the President. Among those who have attended the event also included President Secretary P.B. Jayasundara, President's Chief Advisor Lalit Veeratunga, President's Additional Secretary Retired Major General K.B. Egodavela and President's Private Secretary Sugishwara Bandara, as well as other senior officials and state officials attached to the President's office. Staff at the Prime Minister's office have also recommenced duties after the Sinhala and Tamil New Year today. The Prime Minister extended New Year greetings to all members of his staff. Transport Minister Gamini Lokuge, Prime Minister Secretary Gamini Senarath, Chief of Staff at the Prime Minister's office Yoshitha Rajapaksa, other officials of the Prime Minister's office as well as personnel staff members in ministries affiliated to the Prime Minister's office have also attended the event.
Education Minister Professor G.L. Pires says that this year's August school vacation will be restricted to only 1 week. He has disclosed this fact at a media briefing today. Minister Professor G.L. Pires said that the GCE Advanced Level Examination will be conducted from the 4th to the 30th of October. The Grade 5 Scholarship Examination will be held on the 3rd of October. The GCE Ordinary Level Examination is scheduled to be conducted in the final week of January 2022. He added that substantial time is needed to cover these syllabuses, and the minister added that they are looking into the possibility of shortening the August school's vacation possibly to 1 week. The second school term of the current year commenced today. According to health recommendations, classes should be conducted on every day of the week in classrooms where there are 15 students. In classrooms where the number of students is being 16 to 30, they should be divided into 2 groups. Permission has been granted to conduct classes for each of the group of students week after week. In the event when the number of students in a classroom exceeds 30, the student numbers should have to be divided into 3. Each of these three groups should be allowed in an equal number of teaching sessions. Our correspondents say that the attendance of students and teachers in many of the schools was at a higher level today. Meanwhile, the government has also decided to recommence academic activities in all universities in the island on the 27th of this month.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa presided over a meeting of party leaders of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Podujana Sandhana headed by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna at Temple Trees today. Late party leaders and gallant soldiers were remembered read prior to the recommencement of the meeting. The attention of the party leaders has been focused on conducting only a May Day rally according to the health guidelines. Former President Maithripala Sirisena, Chairman of the Presidential Task Force Basil Rajapaksa, Ministers Professor G.A. Piris and Dinesh Gunawardena were also present. And on to the COVID-19 update now. The epidemiology unit says that decision has been taken to provide the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine under the COVID-19 immunization program from the first week of next month. The first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine has been delivered to 925,242 persons in the country under the COVID-19 immunization program. The number of recoveries from COVID-19 has reached 93,113. Another 2,913 patients are undergoing treatment. Another 204 COVID-19 patients were detected in the island today. 281 fully recovered patients have left today. The Health Division says the PCR tests are scheduled to be conducted on residents in Tittavelgala village in Kurunegala, where travel restrictions have been imposed since yesterday. The total number of COVID-19 patients identified in the area is 29. 1,620 persons in 450 families are undergoing quarantine.
Now, in news concerning the global situation of COVID-19, India's capital region of New Delhi ordered a 6-day lockdown today as daily COVID-19 cases nationwide hit a new record and the health system crumbled under the weight of new infections. Accordingly, the country has reported a record rise in infections of over 273,000, taking its overall caseload past 15 million, second only to the United States globally.
India's COVID crisis is deteriorating even further, with the capital region Delhi entering a 6-day lockdown from Monday night. Daily cases nationwide also hit a new record of 273,810 and a new record of fatalities as well, over 1,600. The country's health system crumbling under the weight. India's hospitals face a shortage of beds, oxygen and medicines as infections pass the 15 million mark, second only to the United States. Delhi's chief minister told a virtual press meeting on Monday Delhi's health system is unable to take more patients in big numbers, adding if a lockdown isn't implemented now, the situation will go beyond control. He said on Sunday that there are less than 100 critical care beds available in New Delhi, a city with a population of more than 20 million people. The worsening situation has also led to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson cancelling a planned trip to India next week. Delhi joins around 13 other states across the country that have decided to impose restrictions, curfews or lockdowns in their cities. Criticism is continuing to mount on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's handling of the second wave, with religious festivals and election rallies still being attended by thousands.
And it's not looking too good in Japan either, as it is expected to slide back into imposing a state of emergency following a recent surge in the COVID-19 cases in major parts of the country. Meanwhile, COVID-19 has killed more than 3 million people and infections have risen to over 142 million globally.
Accordingly, authorities both in Tokyo and Osaka is expected to impose such measures in an attempt to curb the spread of the virus. The new wave of infections has also complicated the preparations for the Tokyo Olympic Games, which are due to start in July, having already been postponed due to the global outbreak last year. Japan reported more than 4,100 new COVID-19 cases. and 17 deaths were reported during the last 24 hours. Canada is also expected to funnel additional health staff and equipment into virus-hit Ontario as the province battles a worrying spike in infections. The government will mobilize and deploy health professionals across the country to Ontario, where the situation is mostly critical. New infections have risen to more than 8,200 cases, while 39 deaths have been reported during the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, schools in Argentine capital will reopen after a court overruled a federal order requiring classes go online for 2 weeks amid a surge in cases that has brought hospitals to near collapse. The judge ruled in favor of a lawsuit filed by non-governmental parent and some teachers groups in the city demanding a decree that suspended face-to-face classes in the capital region for 15 days be immediately revoked.
In more COVID-19 news, hundreds of passengers from Australia began arriving in New Zealand airports today after authorities reopened borders, a pandemic milestone that allows quarantine-free travel between the countries for the first time in over a year.
New Zealand welcomed the first passengers from Australia on Monday as the travel bubble between the two countries began. It's a pandemic milestone that allows quarantine-free travel between the countries for the first time in over a year. Hundreds of passengers like this Australian grandmother touched down in New Zealand, eager to see loved ones.
Oh, it's very emotional. I've been waiting so long. It's fantastic.
Most Australian states have allowed quarantine-free visits from New Zealand since late last year, but until now, New Zealand has enforced isolations for its neighbors, citing concerns over sporadic outbreaks there. But on Monday, scores of Australians filled international departure terminals, and emotional scenes erupted on their arrival, welcomed by a Maori greeting. A choir sang Dave Dobbin's Welcome Home at the Auckland airport. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern told reporters, quote, "The bubble marks a significant step in New Zealand's reconnection with the world, and it is one that we should all take a moment to be very, very proud of." She added Australia Prime Minister Scott Morrison would visit New Zealand in the not-too-distant future. Despite excitement this week, both Morrison and Ardern warned that the travel bubble was under constant review, depending on swings in COVID-19 outbreaks.
What a welcome. In other stories here at home, senior media person Mohan Samaranayaka has assumed duties as Director General of Government Information today. He's a veteran in the field with over 4 decades of experience in local and foreign media sector. He has earlier functioned as Director General of Presidential Media Division. Mohan Samaranayaka entered the media field as a sub-editor of the Davasa newspaper. He also held high positions in the media institutions, including the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation and the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. He had also acted for a long period as the head of the United Nations News Centre. High-ranking officials of the Presidential Media Division, the Ministry of Mass Media and the Government Information Department were also present on the occasion.
A vocational training centre on behalf of the youth living in the upcountry was declared open in Kotagala yesterday by Madam Shiranthi Vikramasinghe Rajapaksa. The centre has been named as the Arumugam Thondaman Social Enhancement Centre. State Minister Jeevan Thondaman and other people's representatives have also attended the event.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith requests the general public to observe a 2-minute silence from 8:45 to 8:47 next Wednesday morning to commemorate those killed in the April 21st Easter Sunday attacks. The request has been made at a media briefing in Colombo today. Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, responding to a query raised by a journalist, said that one of his statements was misinterpreted. He added that what he meant through the statement was the emergence of international Wahhabism and not on political forces. He has earnestly appealed the Islamic devotees to safeguard pure Islamic doctrine and to act in brotherhood with devotees of other religions.
මම ඊයේ කියාපු දේ වැරදි විදියට තේරුම් අරන් තියෙනවා කිසිම දේශපාලන බලවේගයක් ගැන නෙමෙයි මම කිව්වේ මේ ජාත්‍යන්තර වහබ් වාදය කියන එක පිළිබඳ අදහස ඇතුවයි මේක සමහර විට මේ වහබ් වාදය කියන එක එක්තරා බලගතු දේශපාලන ලෝකයේ රටවල් වල අතකොළු බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දෙවන ලෝක මහා යුද්ධයට පස්සේ තුන්වන ලෝක මහා යුද්ධයක් ඇති වුණේ නැහැ. නමුත් එහෙම වුණේ නැහැ කියලා ලෝකයේ සාමයෙන් තිබුණේ නැහැ. විවිධ තැන්වල විවිධ රටවල් වල විවිධ කාල පරිච්ඡේදවලදී යුද්ධ ඇති වුණා. මේ යුද්ධ හුඟක් දේවල් ඇති කරන්නේ මේ බලගතු මේ රහසිගත සංවිධාන. මේවා සමහර වෙලාවට ආගමික නැඹුරුවකිනුත් එන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා ඒවා හරියට විග්‍රහ කරලා බලා ගන්න නැතුව සම්බන්ධ වෙන එක මෝඩකම. ඒ නිසායි මම කිව්වේ අපේ ඉස්ලාම් ජාතිකයන්ට කරුණා කරලා ඔබගේ පිරිසිදු ඉස්ලාමීය පැවැත්ම ආරක්ෂා කරගෙන අනිත් ආගමිකයන් සමග සහෝදරත්වයෙන් වෙලිලා කටයුතු කරන්න කියලා.
The government has taken measures to provide maximum security to the special services and other religious ceremonies scheduled to be conducted on the day after tomorrow. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohan has said that services will be conducted in all churches in the island tomorrow and the day after. He added that police headquarters has instructed regional police authorities to extend maximum protection to these observances. Vehicle transport around the St. Anthony's Church in Kochikade, Colombo has been restricted from 4 p.m. tomorrow till noon on the 21st of this month as a result of a special service to be conducted at the church. Accordingly, vehicle traffic in St. Anthony's Mawatha, Ramanathan Mawatha and Christy Pereira Mawatha will be restricted during these hours. Meanwhile, the Mahanayaka of the Ramanya Nikaya, Most Venerable Makulawe Vimalathero, has expressed his appreciation over the measures taken by the government to enlighten religious leaders on the relevant draft bill on the establishment of the port city. The Mahanayaka Thero was enlightened on the procedures yesterday. State Minister of Finance Ajit Niwad Cabral and Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga have called on the Mahanayaka Thero and made a clarification on the draft bill. The Mahanayaka Thero has reiterated that they greatly commends the decision taken by the President to enlighten the general public and the religious leaders on the issue. State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral has stressed on this occasion that the draft bill would not pave the way for any outside group to acquire the land of Port City. State Minister Ajit Niwad Cabral said that they are going beyond the limitations of the BOI to implement the project. The State Minister said that they have to act quickly to attract investments into the country by competing with Dubai and Singapore. Generation of jobs will become possible only through investments. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said that pawns of reactionary groups came forward when there had been attempts to strengthen the economy of the country. Some countries like to see us in desperate situation.
The Pragati Bank Workers Union says that it will not extend support to any strike in the banking sector. At a media briefing conducted by the bank in Colombo today, it has been pointed out that certain trade unions were attempting to engage in work stoppages in order to fulfill political needs. Chairman of the Pragati Bank Workers Union, Nishanta Samarasinghe, said that the Lanka Bank Workers Union is engaged in a program to place the customers and the government into difficulty by organizing strikes and refusing to negotiate with the bank administration. He added that this union is carrying out their activities even though the regional development banks with the intention of fulfilling their political objectives.
The annual flower display of the Sundara Nuvareliya Seetala Vasanthe was conducted at the Victoria Gardens yesterday under the patronage of Madam Shiranthi Wickramasinghe Rajapaksa. The annual event has been organised by the Nuvareliya Municipal Council. The garden of the Grand Hotel in Nuvareliya was adjudged as the best garden. The garden of St. Andrews Hotel has secured the second position. Owner of the Hill 7 location, P. Thomas, has received the trophy for the best private flower garden. Madam Shiranthi Vikramasinghe Rajapaksa handed over the prizes and trophies to the winners. A group including former Minister Navin Dissanayake was also present on the occasion. Madam Shiranthi Vikramasinghe Rajapaksa also participated in the award presentation of the softball cricket tournament held at the Nuvareliya Municipal Council grounds. The winners of the annual tournament was the Super Fashion Sports Club in Panadura. 90 teams have taken part in the tournament.
Well, that's a wrap on tonight's Rupavahini English News. Join us once again tomorrow. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a great night.